12-mark question in Tectonics. It said assess the effectiveness of strategies used to manage the impacts of volcanic hazards. 12 marks. So the first thing to identify here is the fact that it's an assess question. When the question says assess, you need to weigh up whether the statement is true by looking at different sides of the same argument. Okay. Once you did that, you had to look at the effectiveness of strategies. Okay. The strategies included were to modify the event. Those example of strategies there would be lava walls or salt water spraying. You can modify the vulnerability as a different strategy. That would include education, evacuation, predictions, early warning systems, and you can modify the loss, which is the least desirable one in some ways, and it's about minimizing damage by search and rescue, having some immediate relief camps, medical camps, and sending some aid. Okay, and it was a 12-mark question. 12-mark questions for a assess means you need to give an introduction, and then you have to give a paragraph 1 and paragraph 2, both of which have to be piece paragraphs. If you wanted to know what piece paragraph is, here's a kind of teeny slide showing you how to break down one of those paragraphs. I've got a specific video that explains how to write the perfect piece paragraph. So here's an example. This is an example written by a student. The introduction was nice and straightforward. It said that volcanic hazard pose great risks and include ash clouds, lahars, for example. Therefore, effective management of their impacts is vital to protect life as well as infrastructure. The first point they make is that strategy used is community preparedness. Lovely, that's a point. Followed by evidence. Iceland, for example, the government has heavily invested in scientific equipment to monitor volcanic activity, as well as alert systems to notify citizens of risk. They then go on to explain that this preparation for volcanic hazards is instilled in the population from a young age, ensuring that every person is aware of what to do in an emergency. It could be expanded because it's a little bit brief as an analysis, but it is an analysis nonetheless. Okay, and then in counterpoint it says, well, however, although it has been effective at reducing the number of deaths after a disaster, this strategy is significantly costly and, consequently, will likely only be able to be adopted by high-income countries such as Iceland, but not in developing areas of the world. Therefore, it could be argued the effectiveness of this strategy is solely dependent on whether or not it is a possible option for high-risk location. It's quite a beefy counterpoint, okay? Looks at it's assessing whether it's an effective strategy. It's good, okay? It doesn't necessarily explain why. So it's missing the second E of the piece structure, which is why low-income countries can't afford it. So yes, it's costly, but why can't they afford that? Okay, so stating the obvious, but you have to explain it. And in paragraph 2, it then says another strategy used is modifying the event. The example is, for instance, 2010 Eyjafjallajökull eruption in Iceland. Lava diversion was used to prevent lava from reaching settlement, causing risk to infrastructure. Furthermore, due to the country's access to seawater, it is able to spread lava, resulting in it cooling down, and as a result, slowing it down, reducing the distance it could impact. Good analysis there. However, this strategy still lacks effectiveness, as it only modifies one aspect of the hazard, and a large ash cloud release, which moved along to Europe. Explanation, well, consequently, 100,000 flights were cancelled. These disruption costs airline companies around $1.7 billion. Okay, so they explain why the counterpoint is valid. Overall, this question is a really good answer. I awarded it 10 marks, mainly because I think there's missing the explanation in the first piece paragraph. The explanation in the second piece paragraph is a little bit short, and the analysis in the first paragraph is a little bit short too. But there's some really good knowledge here. They use the words like modifying the event. They didn't use it modifying the vulnerability, but they use the word preparedness. It's a really solid all-round question and answer.